Welcome everyone to another live cast on the Cryptowriter channel with Corey and Jimmy D. Roundtable, our second roundtable today. Apparently, the first one was great. Had a really fun time. Apologies for that. Please share this YouTube link around because there's probably a bunch of people looking at the old YouTube link, and we'd like to get them in there. Because we have a pretty star-studded cast here today to talk about art and artists on the blockchain. So I'll let you guys introduce yourselves a little bit in a minute, but just as a quick one-off, you all know Corey and me, Jimmy, and you should know mBlu down in the bottom right. He's a collaborator of us on this channel a lot, as well, founder of Uplift.Art, lgnd.art, which will be coming very soon, like sooner than soon, and also co-founder of the Uplift.World, which we're in every day. We have Gems introduced to us last week, actually, on our show with Stefan, one of our favorite people. So we're super excited to have another .gems connection. First-time guest on the show, Darren, who is somehow managed to take graffiti in the streets of London and potentially around the world and meld it and mix it with a blockchain, and has actually been collaborating with a lot of artists in this space. And also Ocular Delusion, who is one of the 22 founding members of WOCA, which is the Woman of Crypto-Art organization. And actually they just did a collaboration with Darren and the Graffiti Kings in Decentraland as an exhibition. So we're pretty excited just to dive in and talk about all of the potential. Sorry, what does that mean? That's all right. We'll dive in and talk about all. That sounded like a chainsaw. I was a little bit worried there. I thought maybe Darren was like going to carve out like some weird monument in the back, So, but yeah, we're pretty excited to just shoot the shit, as it were, about what you guys think, because I think there's a lot of there's a lot of powerful people with powerful ideas in this room, and I think this can have a really cool impact for other people to understand and recognize where it's coming from. So yeah. Hey, Blue, how are you? It's been a while. Why don't you start? Quick introduction, anything you want to say, and then we'll just maybe go from right to left through Martin, Darren, and
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, Jimmy. Yeah. So, boy, mBlu, I'm a song and dance man. Here to party. Just doing a lot of things in the space, meeting a lot of great people. Started Uplift.Art as an answer to. Oops, I'm hearing.
That's Jimmy for sure.
It's not.
Almost every show, guys. Almost every show.
All right, rewind. No, so Uplift.Art was a kind of a response to my visits to Haiti and seeing a need for disruption in the charitable space. Then I learned about nonprofits and just the problems of the 501(c) space in America and how they're perceived and how they're regulated. So that's where I said I want to create a new type of organization, a win-win-win economy where the philanthropic, ideals that we want to attach ourselves to, the good charities that are actually doing meaningful good things, we want to empower them and lift them up and basically enable them to fulfill their missions. First stop Haiti, just because that was, something I'm really focused on and an area that really needs attention, in my opinion. We've raised close to, if not more than $1 million worth of value in the last 6 months for not only feeding school children, but also building schools in Haiti. We're looking at other charitable partners to work with in the future as well. And that enterprise has opened many doors for Uplift.Art and me personally. But I consider myself personally part of the team. So it's all of us, right? And so legend.art has been under construction for the last 8 to 10 months. And we've got a global team of just rock stars talking with a lot of large entities. So we're building a globally compliant, institutional grade base artist marketplace where it's curated artists, and we're onboarding, and we have a curated list of the top artists in the world. Starting off with our alpha launch is Ty Carter, who is also the art council director for lgnd.art. So we have 2 alpha drops, and then the main launch in May, and that's when our list of artists roster will start be trickled out there. But it's pretty exciting. Again, huge names in the art world, and we're talking to a lot of really powerful, wonderful people in the space, and it's looking really, really fun. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Oh, Martin, you're on mute, I think.
Thanks for that. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, yes.
Okay. So yeah, it's my turn. I'm unmuted. Thanks for having me on. So my background is actually, I'm coming from the arts. I studied art in Germany from 2000 to 2008. I'm a free graphic designer and painting, oil painting. I graduated in oil painting. And throughout my career or throughout my studies, I learned a lot about Asian calligraphy and Asian ink painting. And after I studied and during my study, I went already to China. So after finishing, I moved to China, still living here. But since China is big in crypto and pretty advanced, I got touched into the blockchain world. I got into the blockchain world, and there came the crossover like 2015, where I learned about Bitcoin. And when 2017 happened, I heard about EOS.io, and then started digging deeper, and contacted EOS Nation back then. They had their ambassador program, and I applied there. And since then, been their regional director Asia. And always been seeing what's going on with NFTs, following up what's going on there. And when Atomic Hub came out, I started like doing my own NFT series there, and started the spicy rare stuff, and got deeper and deeper sucked into this whole space. And finally started .gems, which is the NFT studio of EOS Nation right now. And we are doing our first releases. A lot of stuff in the pipeline, cooperating with a lot of great people. Happy to be here. Thank you. Darren is next, I guess.
Great. Cool. So I'm Darren Cullen from Graffiti Kings in London. We are a collective of graffiti artists, now professional graffiti artists. Got into graffiti in 1983 when I was 10. Spent most of my years up until the mid-90s just vandalizing everything. Then I started to grow up, and that was about 22 years ago. Started the company Graffiti Kings. Didn't want to, was pushed into it. We was doing work for the railway, the contractors in the UK, doing diversionary projects with the young kids, keeping them off the streets. And the work he was doing got so big that everyone wanted to employ us, because the government put out a paper on the work we was doing with the young children, and saw how good it was for what benefits they were getting out of it. So they published a report on the workshops that we was doing. That then went out to every local council in the UK, and then within days, yeah, the phone just went off the hook. And being self-employed, working for all these corporate people and government people weren't cutting it. I had to start a company, so I started Graffiti Kings, and it's just grown on from there. And my time in the NFT space is pretty small. I got into the whole cryptoverse in March when the stock market had that dip, and the media was all going crazy. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do with my wealth? And I started looking into gold and silver. and I come across Bitcoin, and that was all Chinese to me. So I've done a bit of research. I'm stuck in. Luckily, we're now in month later. We're in lockdown. I've got nothing to do apart from watch Netflix or Fear TV or research more into this space, which I did and have still doing. Yeah, and then come across NFTs, and yeah, it just jumped out to me, and here we are, and we're now collaborating with various brands. We've got huge projects coming out in the next couple of months on Wax blockchain. We've got quite a few things coming out, more than most. And what I've done to date in this space, we've just, I say me, I ain't done nothing. Crypto Una. Yeah, so I got in touch with Decentraland, introduced who we were, told them this idea that I had. They was up for it, and got the okay. And I was like, okay, need some help. I reached out to Crypto Una, who I've been speaking to back and forth for maybe a month on Twitter. Very nice girl, and yeah, she took on the role, and yeah, she led the charge, and yeah, organised. From what I can tell from being in this space early, the biggest NFT art event for women in this space on Decentraland. We had over 50 odd ladies taking part, which was huge. It was great, and yeah, and now we're here.
Possibly the biggest ever, not just for women, but
biggest ever. Yeah, period. It was mental.
It was mental.
Yeah, and Karen took part as well.
Hey,
yeah.
Hey.
Hey. Sorry, I'm late.
Just in time.
No problem. It actually wasn't your that wasn't your fault. It was ours, because we sent you the right link, but then the right link wasn't right for very long. So we're just giving introductions. Darren just finished. Maybe we'll hear from Karen, and then you can introduce yourself, Bitcoin Madame.
Cool.
Hi, yes, I'm Karen, known online as Ocular Delusion. I have had a long history in different art making traditions, but most recently I've been working in digital art making technologies, including VR and AI and just all kinds of experimentation. I like doing the mashup thing. As part of that process, I ended up being introduced to crypto art by friends of mine, Ilan and Lenara, who have been in the crypto art space for quite a long time. And I've just been experimenting ever since as one of the art making tools for collaboration, community creation, alternative economies, and stuff like that. So I'm on various platforms, and I think I probably most enjoy doing collaborative work. And so I'm one of the founding members of the 105 Collective, which is a UK-based crypto art collective with Sparrow, Urban, Unreal City, and Sina Jones. And we created our first async art piece and launched it last October. And actually, I'm also a founding member of Woka, and we last night launched our Tarot collaboration, which has been in process since September of last year. And we just birthed it last night, and the auction concludes on May 1st, and we're just all really excited. I mean, the 22 founding members that you mentioned, actually, Jimmy, there weren't only 22 founding members of Woka. It was just that this collaboration came out of the initial conversations that were happening in Twitter that led to Woka being formed. So yeah, and I'll let Edith tell you more about that. But yes, we're very excited, so please check it out. It's a fully automated, working, functional Tarot deck on async. And as far as I know, it's the first one in the world, the first Tarot NFT.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
it was really cool. I checked it out today, and you guys have a pretty cool site as well. So we'll maybe talk about that after. But yeah, and
links, Jimmy. I totally want to check that out.
Yeah, so most of the links are below, but we actually ran out of space because we're capped. But so we're actually thinking about putting together a post on this one just because the panel is so huge. So before I forget, if you guys have things that you want to shout out, we'll put a post together in the next few days after this. But totally mBlu, yeah, we got to get those links out there for sure. Bitcoin Madame, you're up.
Yeah. So On Twitter, everyone knows me as Bitcoin Madame, but everywhere else, people know me as Etta Totti. So I often say to people, if I just had one name, I'd be twice as infamous. But there you go. So I am a crypto art collector, and I fell down the rabbit hole of collecting basically at the start of lockdown, after reading an article about how to make money collecting NFTs. So within 6 months, I had over 50 artworks in my collection, including some by artists who then went on to become famous. So it was really cool. I love crypto art, and I got a little bit addicted to it. I'm the only sort of dedicated collector among the Waka founders, and it's been my sort of role among the group to encourage more people to start crypto art collecting. So I've been reaching out to lots of people in the crypto community, because I find that's easier. I mean, if I spoke to my next door neighbour and started talking about crypto art, you know, JPEGs, whatever, they don't have a clue what I'm talking about. So I found it was easier to target people who already know what the blockchain is. They already know what Ethereum is and a wallet and things like that. So I particularly wanted to get more women collecting crypto art and NFTs. So I reached out to some of the big hitters on Twitter, people like Leah, Hale Pern, the Crypto Woman, CryptoFinney, all these really sort of famous influencers. And it just, over the last couple of months, it's totally exploded, the number of people collecting. So it's just amazing. And in terms of Waka, as I said, I'm not an artist, and I kind of got involved in that by accident. So one of the artists was putting together a sort of chat and a group. It was actually Sparrow, who is like an amazing lady. And somebody invited me to this group of women artists by mistake. And I got really intrigued by all the sort of challenges that they find in the world of crypto art. And I just wanted to help these women to be as successful as some of the other artists that I've seen, and it just snowballed from there. We now have over 800 members in Waka, and we're growing every day. So that's me.
Yeah, so I'm really happy that you two ladies are here, because we're probably going to do a dedicated, dedicated female crypto art, or maybe even Waka roundtable at some point. But I think it's a nice balance to have everyone here included, because everyone's kind of coming from different areas, and there's quite a bit of crossover, right? Like, I mean, a lot of people on this stream saw the potential of crypto art, during lockdown. And a lot of people on the stream were kind of artists before crypto, and they made that jump into the gap. And I think that's just a really interesting parallel. Different people doing different things and targeting different, sectors of the market, but in the end, all with the same goal of, mass onboarding, mass onboarding the masses. Is that a thing? Mass onboarding the masses en masse, into this world of art. So, Corey, we maybe while we talk, we can throw some gratitudes up, because that's a thing that we do.
Yeah, we can do that. So we want to do.
It's not me.
Who wants to go first?
Boy, mBlu will step in there.
All right.
I'm grateful for women in crypto.
Woohoo!
Yeah. We're working with, Ty Carter is the head of our art council for lgnd.art. He's Netflix art director, Emmy award-winning artist himself. But so when he came on board, he was new to the crypto space, right? And this is when we onboarded him. It was before the NFT craze hit, right? So we were still kind of convincing him about NFTs were going to be the future, right? So he was a little skeptical at first, right? But then when he really dove into the NFT space, he coined it as the Crypto Bros Club, right? Because it's very this crypto bro, this very zombies and, you know, nothing against zombies, but, you know, it's just very male oriented space, right? And he goes, where are the women? Like, you know, so that's where, you know, lgnd.art is really bringing in that balance and bringing in, you know, we're bringing in some really top, you know, fine artists, women fine artists. But interesting that, you know, both of you are on this call, because that's something that's really needed in this space, is that female presence and more of a balance that's more kind of palatable to all. So, women in crypto.
Thank you. We're grateful to be here. And thanks for making room at the table for us. I mean, I come from in my long background, I in different fields I've worked in have been, you know, gaming, technology, and even art, writing. Every job I've had has been pretty dominated by men, and so I'm kind of used to it. I don't mind. I like men, and I love nerding out with them and making stuff with them. And so for me, I would really like to see more integration like this. You know, like, of course, WOCA exists because we want to raise the visibility of women in the space, and get their names out there and give each other guidance. I mean, just forming community in general and giving each other guidance in general is kind of what the crypto art space is all about, right? That's what makes it go. So it's great to have specifically female-led and female-focused projects, but I'm really hoping that integration will be, you know, what we're doing right now. That's what's going to become the norm.
Exactly. Hey, at some point I gotta send you a link so you can see. I put the greatest love story ever told on the blockchain, on the Wax blockchain. We did a drop called Ti Amo, Collectible Love. So it's really my wife and I, Francesca, have a pretty incredible love story. And so we did a whole drop around Ti Amo love event. So talking about that love story and how it changed our lives. And it's just a really inspiration. So it's kind of going against the crypto bro type energy and bringing in more of a kind of this loving depth that is kind of lacking in the space. So yeah, I'd love to get your take on that.
And for those of you that don't know, who are out there, like all of these artists that are featured here today kind of have their own style and their own thing. And mBlu's, you know, focuses on, you know, basically artistic music, video, NFTs. So that might clear things up for people in the audience that don't know mBlu. But yeah.
So we're going in rounds again about like who's grateful for what? Is this what's happening?
No, well, we can only really do rounds once, because then we lose the plot. So just throw your hand up whenever. Now it's the madness dash for gratitude, really.
Well, I'm super grateful for all the patience and helpfulness and support that's happening right now in the NFT scene. Like, I think what we're seeing is really like a fundamental movement of like making a more fair art market and a creative industry. I don't know how many of you are daily on Clubhouse, and you know, before Clubhouse that there was already so much support coming from artists that already kind of made it and know the ropes. So we talked about onboarding, the onboarding of people that are currently not knowing what is the MetaMask, or how do I do an account, or what is minting, what are gas fees, you know, how do I mint, and all these kind of things. There's so much support happening, and I'm grateful for everybody who takes the time to onboard those that don't know the ropes yet, and their patience. And that's something that's, I think, very unique, and that's happening right now, and it's really motivating me to continue to work on this.
I'm grateful for Corey's minimalist signage, because he's working really hard over there. That like, because you guys have awesome gratitudes, but he's got to take all those things and then put them into like 6 words. So he's doing an awesome job. Yay, Corey. Who else isn't on there? I don't think we got Darren. Have you been on there? maybe not.
So
Darren,
this is like a,
sorry, go ahead, Martin.
no, so just a little bit of context. So this is like your wall of gratitude in your metaverse, the Uplift.
Yeah, so
Right?
so the Uplift world was built on gratitudes with Corey and the founding members, and they have a Sunday morning service every week where people go in and they watch the sunrise, which you kind of heard about earlier, and they say what they're grateful for, and they throw their gratitudes up on a wall in the cathedral. But since the world has expanded into many sectors and many different regions, many different walls have popped up, and this actually is a new wall just for this kind of roundtable event that we threw up because we knew we were going to have an all-star cast, and we thought it deserved its own dedicated place in the Uplift world. Some of the premier artists. So maybe we can take a stroll around after a little bit, Corey, and see what's going on.
That's fine. I was muted. No, we're definitely going to do that. Yeah, no, I hit it actually in a building that's going to be the headquarters for legend.art. Don't tell mBlu. It's fairly well hidden, but like this is something for this panel. I want for you guys specifically to know that this is going to be there, and you'll have a little gratitude graffiti up on a wall hidden in one of the best builds that has ever been in the Uplift. So Ocular Delusion, hit me with something I can throw up on this wall.
I mean, I think when I started doing crypto art and becoming more involved in the various communities, even though the first lockdown year was absolute hell for all the reasons, I also felt like it was the best year of my life, right? Because I was getting everything I wanted, basically, in terms of creative community, finding people of like mind, ready to collaborate on stuff and just making it happen. So I think I'm most grateful for creative community that this space has brought me, and all of us, really.
Love it. Yeah, that you just described my year.
Yeah, I totally resonate with that too, because it's like a two-edged sword, but so much goodness has happened because of the situation the world is in. It's really hard to think of what would it be like if this hadn't have happened, right?
Yeah,
it would have been a completely different path for everybody. And I don't want to kind of diminish the hardship many people have gone through, including me personally because of this lockdown, but the amount of goodness that has happened because of it is enormous, and the connections, right? And the ideas and conversations like this. So yeah, I applaud that.
It's that sense of possibility, I think, above everything else, when everything else in the world seems to be becoming more and more impossible and hard to unravel. To have something positive and creative to hang on to, and to catalyze these kinds of conversations. I mean, any kind of creative group that can come together and talk about what might we create next is huge at a time like this. It's huge at any time, but especially now.
Yeah, totally agree. Hey, Corey, in a nutshell, can you, because you sent out a video, you tweeted out a video this morning about gratitude science, right? And in a nutshell, can you kind of like tell everybody why this is important and what writing these gratitudes are in a group setting like this? But not only that, we've got thousands of uplifters and probably like 30,000 of these signs up scattered throughout the world. Can you tell us, like in a nutshell, like what we have found by doing this?
Yeah, so I would highly recommend just Googling TED Talk and gratitude. I think we posted a video up from like I can never say their name. It's a YouTube channel. It's really good about the science of gratitude. And the long and short of it is, the more you look at the good things in your life, even if you're just like grateful for a cup of coffee or whatever, like the specifics, in fact, don't matter kind of at all. You're basically working out the part of your brain that can see good things, right? And the way I always see it, I've heard it described. And we'll catch another little sunrise here. you know, we came up evolutionarily, you know, dodging lines. So we're constantly trying to figure out if there's a line around the corner. And so our brains are wired to see negative, right? So we're taking in, you know, millions of pieces of information every second. And the brain is basically a giant filter, and it's only filtering out those things that might hurt us as a default. And so this practice of gratitude starts to train your brain that, wait a minute, this other stuff is important. And so you start to see more of it. And so, you know, we wanted to create a practice for ourselves. It's actually, you know, personally something that I have been doing for a long time, but I ended up having like a little bout of depression last year, like, you know, real depression, which I didn't really understand until I experienced it myself. And, you know, I went out to the ocean every morning and I listed out 3 things I was grateful for. And it's just, you know, over months, there's a really amazing cumulative effect. So we brought this into this Minecraft server and started doing it. And the reason why we, you know, really focused on it is that we started doing it as a community, you know, doing that Sunday thing. But now it's sort of everybody in the Uplift is kind of taking these monuments and putting them on their land. Doing this as this community, as this sort of, you know, growing fellowship is having a compound effect. Like that's, I can't show you the science on that, but I could, like, there's lived experience that it feels like, you know, it feels like magic, frankly. It's freaking messed up. So, yeah, so that's why we do it. There's tons of science on it. I highly recommend, you know, checking that stuff out. You'll hear from much smarter people about why it works. But that specific, you know, daily gratitude practice will have it, like it will literally make you happier. Like wherever you are, you might be happy right now. It's gonna make you happier anyway. Like it's just real. It's weird.
Well,
but it's,
yeah,
it's
in the compound, right? Because now you're engaged in a community that is all kind of, you know, set at the same foundational gratitude, right? And that's just filtering throughout the community. You go into the, you know, the Uplift Telegram channel, and it's just a bunch of goodwill, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of unique in the crypto space because it's all about, you know, the moon, right? And it's the Lambo, and, you know, the next altcoin to 10x or 100x, right? But I'm not saying that that's wrong, because, you know, we all want to be abundant. But this whole thing, the Uplift world and this gratitude kind of focus, right, is kind of like what's underlying everything that's going on in our world. So it shifts the conversation from moon and Lambos for me to, hey, how much goodness can we create together, right? And talking about that collaboration effect that that we love so much, right? And just bringing in that, you know, that undertone of gratitude. And I loved how you put that, Corey, about how we're training our mind from, you know, fight and flight to, hey, what else is important? And you know, you can only focus on maybe, like, I don't know, what is it, 7 or 8 things at once, right? You can only hold so much in your conscious mind at one time. So you're shifting more to, you know, what is good in my life, right? To the sip of coffee, to the stroll on the beach, to the friends that you're meeting and making.
I think it actually ends up even it's a lot bigger than what you're conscious of, right? Because your brain is constantly throwing stuff at you unconsciously, right? And the gratitude practice is to constantly work the groove, to deepen the groove, so that your brain thinks, wait a minute, like this gratitude thing, like this moment I'm having where, you know, I'm taking a sip of coffee and it's a beautiful thing. Maybe I should be grateful for that, right? And like, just like, you wouldn't have thought of that before. You might have been thinking about fucking bills or some stupid bullshit, right? So, you know, it really, your brain is constantly serving you up this stuff automatically. And this gratitude practice actually changes that feed, right? Anyway, so before we get too far into this, because I want to show you actually where we are, because it's freaking bonkers. But Bitcoin Madam, let's get a gratitude up for you, and then Darren, and then we can continue whatever discussion you guys want to talk about. We should probably like talk to our guests, like, what? Hey, how are you guys doing?
Okay. Well, I'm grateful for everyone who's donated their time and their crypto to help the Walker community to progress our roadmap and our vision of diversity, equality, fairness, and inclusion in the crypto art world. So I would like to say a thank you to each and every one of the people who's contributed, but I think we'd be here all day.
All right, I have to dial that down to very few words. So everyone who contributed to, sorry, how do you spell it's like the acronym?
WOCA.
Yeah, Women of Crypto Art, WOCA.
Beautiful.
What do you want to do, Corey? EOS or wax? What's your preference today?
What?
Preference, EOS or wax? Pick one.
Wax.
Okay, done. Drop your wax addies in the drops in the comments from now.
Right, makes sense. Makes sense. Darren, how about you?
I'm good. I'm going to keep it women. I'm going to put Yona on the wall. Crypto Yuna. I am so grateful for all the work that she's done over the last month. Yeah, Crypto Yuna. Yeah, grateful for all the hard work she's done.
Oh, that's right. How do you spell it? Yuna, like Y-U-N-A or something?
Y-U-N-A.
Awesome.
You can tell who the graffiti artist in the room is, can't you? Like everyone else is like really long-winded. He knows that he knows the heat's coming. He's got to get out of there.
This is how much space I got right there. That's perfect. All right.
No, you're taking too long. We've been caught by now. Police been coming for us.
Awesome.
Well, Corey walks. I'll say something on what you guys were talking about before, because I think there's an interesting parallel there, right? Like, obviously, like gratitude begets gratitude, and if we lived in the world that we want to create, right, then we wouldn't have to have that weird feeling about fight or flight. I don't think, right? All speculative, by the way, and kind of means nothing. But I think it's really the same as what you guys were saying earlier, because here's the thing, right? And Blue said it. That this whole pandemic thing forced us to go online. And when you're forced to kind of go online, you're obviously going to seek out people that have the same interests as you if you're going to keep your sanity. That's a QR code. I bet you it works if you have your Keitai, people out there in the audience.
If you have your what?
Sorry, that was Japanese. If you have your smartphone.
that was a lot cooler than smartphone. Just want to throw that out there.
But that's the thing, right? Like the communities that are being built around, blockchain, they can be toxic, but at the same time, the communities that are built around like usefulness, like if you look at what Gems has done, if you look at what Uplift.Art has done, if you look at what it seems like the Woka community and the collaborations with the graffiti kings, like it's just a bunch of like-minded people that are coming in and feeding off of each other's creativity and positivity, and it's really great for not even the crypto space, just individuals and art in general, in my opinion.
I agree.
Something about the gratitude mindset. It's sort of like I went to a Tai Chi class once where the guy taught us to stand together in perfect balance with another person, just like touching hands. And he taught us that if we looked up, one thing would happen. If we looked down, your opponent would just go down. So what happens? What you focus on happens. So you're walking down the road and there's an apple tree full of fruit and there's a cliff that you can fall off of. If you keep looking at the cliff, freaking out, you're going to end up gravitating towards that and falling off the cliff. If you keep focusing on that apple tree, you're going to end up at the apple tree eating the fruit, So I think that's kind of how it works, that suffering is a habit of mind and gratitude is a habit of mind. And it's up to us to train our minds to move towards the positive. And it's also much easier to get anything done if you're in a positive state of mind, which means a positive state of body in your nervous system. It steers the car, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I've always had the adage. I loved it. Like what you focus on expands, right? And it really seems to be true. I do want to say just a quick note. We're actually Legend is actually the parent company of the Uplift. We're huge fans of theirs. Again, there's an alpha drop that's going on this weekend, and you're probably going to want to register by pointing your phone at this thing and throwing your email address in it, because it's going to be quite the thing. So I just wanted to leave that up there for a second. Grab your phone, point it at that thing, or just go to legend.art. It's cooler with the QR code. It's just more fun.
Well, and also it's an alpha. We got 2 alphas before the main launch, so this is, it's really, we're limiting the access. So you'll get an access code by going to the splash page. We're going to let just so many in, kick the tires, give feedback. We have 2 alpha launches and then the main launch in mid-May.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
And Marty, we were talking to Stefan the last time that he was on here, and like we really hope that you guys, come in and showcase some of your art in here as well, like in another part of the world. I think that would be awesome, because what you guys are doing for the space, and as well, like the Woka people and the graffiti kings, like there's some really cool things that I think that your artists could put in here, and I think there's a place in here for you if you want it. you know, if you want to come in and you want to have some of your artists featured on, you know, some of these Lego walls that, like, the murals are just amazing. They're really amazing, and you guys could do cool things. So I really hope that you guys do come in here, and like I'm kind of curious to hear about actually your experience and your thoughts on, because, you know, our focus is the apple at the top of the tree, which happens to be built out of 3D Lego blocks in the Uplift world. Going back to what you said, but like the idea of Decentraland, like we've been on the .gems plot in Decentraland on the show, on our show before with Stefan, and I'm kind of curious because there's 3 or 4 groups of people here. What your take was like on that experience, and I mean, you're seeing the Uplift now as well. So hashtag shameless show with relevance number whatever we're on, because we do multiple times a week. But like what was your experience, number one, in the Decentraland, and you know, what do you think about like metaverses that are tailored towards artists in general? Is, I think, a topic I'd like to hear more of your opinions on, everyone.
Oh, was that directed to anybody in particular, or just to the group?
Well, to the group, but like Darren and Karen just collaborated on a whole event that was in Decentraland, I believe, and Martin, I think, is in charge of something in, is it Crypto Voxels, Martin, that you guys are in with .gems?
Back when I got into, like, I think back in like June or something, I was like looking at all the metaverses, and I couldn't really decide. What I figured out is, like, basically each metaverse has kind of a use case of its own, and also an aesthetic and architecture of its own. And so I decided, I'm just going to get all of them, you know. And so I started like learning what they can do, and how I can build in there, what kind of events I can do there, what kind of functionality and utility come with the plots. And since then, I'm really looking forward to where the metaverses then interconnect, and we can travel between the metaverses and have different communities within the metaverses. So except Decentraland, I'm pretty much versed in most of them. Uplift, like the Minecraft thing, I still need to learn. That's basically the biggest reason why we haven't built there yet. I definitely, like, when you did your sale on Wax, I kind of bought a couple of these cards, and happy to get into this. But like at .gems, we're currently really working a lot, like basically talking to artists and talking to different groups of people that want to learn about NFTs. I talk a couple of galleries that have a roster of artists, and I talk to them about how they can utilize it. And part of the package that we're basically giving them is doing shows in the metaverses, and exhibiting their art, and introducing it to this basically new medium, because this is how I understand NFTs as a more interactive medium of art, because the whole internet basically became a huge museum for us right now. And it's so accessible for everyone, and that gives like so much new opportunity for having a discourse about what is art and what does it bring to our life. We talked about gratitude, like really, like the experience and a piece of art can give to us, how it touches us, and how an artist can basically document deep feelings for us to relive these feelings is magic. And this can all happen in metaverses, but for me, I really don't see like one metaverse being dominant. I think like there is a multitude of metaverses. There's also metaverses that are just AR layers on top of the real world, right? So we can walk around and we can have AR experiences. All these kind of things that will at some point interact and just give us a feeling about how valuable digital content can be, because NFTs is basically the part that taught us that digital content is valuable because we can actually limit it, we can make it scarce, and we can prove the ownership, and the ownership is something that we can be proud of, and we can give creators an opportunity to make a living from this, and that's groundbreaking, and it's, you know.
Yeah, I think a lot of the crypto people, like hardcore crypto people on this stream would agree, because like you're right, like it's not one chain or one metaverse or one place to display your art that's going to be the most powerful. It's going to be all these, things coming together on the deepest crypto sense, but also for the artists as well. I think it's going to be, the ability to not worry whether you're like pro EOS or pro Wax or pro Bitcoin, the ability to just be able to sell your crypto into to sell your art into any crypto that you choose. I think that's probably the future where we're coming from, right?
And exactly. I mean, Jimmy, we're such a species that we love our teams, right? Like we just love our communities, our teams, right? But what we're seeing, and it's going to happen soon, is that we're going to see this IBC, inter-blockchain communication, where the blockchains are actually all synced up, they're linked up, you can travel from chain to chain. But same with the metaverse, right? Because we have all these different teams that feel disjointed, disconnected, but at some point they're all going to be able to tap into one another. You have portals from Decentraland into the Uplift world into Decentraland, into other metaverses, right? Because we're such creative beings, and it seems like these mind-blowing innovations, we're connecting, we're talking to galleries, we're talking to creators, we're putting these things together, we're building metaverses, we're connecting blockchains, we're connecting ecosystems, and pretty soon it's going to be one big team, right? If you don't like the governance or the flavor of one hub during one experience, then you move over into another one, and then you go back and look, hey guys, I'm back. Has things changed over here? So it's like, that's where we're headed. And we're still at this kind of like this separation point, right? Where we're all these separate islands. But what's being developed right now is all of these bridges, and it's going to be seamless. Like it's going to take probably a couple of years for it to be really like fluid and seamless and connected. But it's coming, and it's coming in a big, beautiful way. It's a new paradigm. It's a new way forward. It's mass creativity across the world, where it's a win-win-win economy. Where I get messages weekly from people that got and the beauty of the Wax blockchain is that I can send anybody on this call, anybody listening, I can send an NFT to them that has real-world value, free and instantly, right? With that being said, I get messages from people that I gifted them an Uplift.Art, NFT, or they got one for a low price somehow. And then they thank me and they go, oh my God, I got this for such and such, and I sold it for like $12, right? And you're thinking $12, right? Like, to me, like that's a price of a cup of coffee, right? Nearly, and maybe a bite of a donut. But to them, and this happens a lot, to them, that $12 NFT that they sold, or that sometimes it's much higher, but I'm using a low price, but sometimes that $12 fed that person or that family for that day, right? And so we're seeing that in real time happening right now because of one, blockchain, two, because of NFTs, three, because of the people that are coming into this space are generally just really cool people that care, right? Like I'm meeting more people in the space that genuinely care about their community and the world than any other time in my life. So the minds that are in this space are the leaders of the future, which is very, very comforting for me.
I think what you said also kind of goes back to we had Yoshi on the channel last night, which if you haven't watched it back, go watch it back, because Yoshi's he's a cool dude, man. And mBlu and Corey know Yoshi well. But I just like drinking sake with Yoshi. But he mentioned something about which I think is really relevant in this thread, because Bitcoin Madame mentioned this earlier, and like what art means to people is different on a lot of different levels. And he was really interested in this NFT art collection that he bought into. And then all of a sudden this NFT art collection got I think it got listed on Our Planet, and the value went through the roof. And it was this independent small time artist that kind of had that had that idea, and he was happy because, you know, he's like, he wasn't happy because he made money. He was happy because he saw this artist, you know, be able to do good things. And my mind goes to weird places. Like there was this story I'm not going to tell now about an apple and reaching the top one and falling off the cliff because I was trying to save the low-bearing fruit for people that were less likely than me. So I'll just let you guys infer on that. But what I do want to say is
never use 10 words where 7,000 will do.
Yeah, but what I do want to say is, well, people are getting used to it. I mean, that's
it's your thing. I love you for it. I think it's great.
But the weird parallel that I think really relates, especially to Darren, is like if you look at what's happening in the States, especially with like the legalization trends of certain narcotics and things like that. It's interesting because you have all of these people in prison that like can't get licenses to grow stuff because they got busted for growing really good stuff. And like, I think that's like, it's a really weird idea, but it does have this parallel to graffiti and art and NFTs and tokenization of like real world kind of graffiti. And I think that's really interesting because for the first time in history, we're able to take like, you know, visible representations of these. We're able to create NFTs and we're even able to animate them and put them on the blockchain. And these artists who, you know, were out there that were kind of, you know, just doing what they wanted to do and I don't know, messing shit up or you know, making their mark on the world, they actually can become, I don't know what the word is for it, but they can actually become like legitimized in their craft, if that makes sense, Darren. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, going to my experience with back to the the graffiti queens in Decentraland. Seriously, my house was having a party. So we're in the outside. We're in a skate park in Decentraland. There's a DJ. They got laser lights. Everyone's running around jumping. The music's pumping. Graffiti Kings was playing live. The art, all the artwork was on the walls, maybe 15 foot high compared to your avatar. It was amazing. Seriously was. And I've been to many a gallery event. But yeah, that night at Graffiti Queens was pretty epic, I must say. Seriously.
Yeah, and that was all online and in digital. And I think like, you know, this is the thing with us. I think, you know, our organization and what we do over here, why we're so preferential, I think, to wax is just the, you know, I don't say it very well. mBlu probably says it better than me, but just the ease of onboarding, the ability for everyone to be able to participate, right? Like it's not necessarily the case in other blockchains. So I don't know, mBlu, maybe you can expand upon that because you're better at that explanation than I am with 5 words instead of 7,000.
You know, can you please restate that?
Okay, sure. Yeah, so
I was lost for a minute. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Like why we're preferential, like, so going back to like the idea of like all of these like different avenues and ecosystems. We had someone on the channel that was kind of like an unknown artist, right? And they wanted to release this collection. But when you're an unknown artist and you want to release a collection, it's really difficult in the real world, right? Like, and in the music industry, it's really difficult as well, right? Like if you want to be a rock star, you got to go play some live concerts. You gotta find, you know, an agent. You got to get connected. You got to get your CD. Like if you want to be an artist, you got to put in your time. You got to, you know, go through the proper channels. But even as an NFT artist now these days, if you're going on to some of these like larger, well-known blockchains, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg to mint your collection, right? Mm-hmm. And so like the ability to be able to do it on Wax, which is like an easy onboarding process for artists and their fans, although it's having some hiccups right now, which we're not so happy about, just to be fair. And I think like that's something that is really good for up and coming artists, that is really good for the space in terms of bringing out this creativity.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, yeah, the way, you know, Wax is architectured, it's great for, you know, those artists that can't pay, you know, $10 to $100 in transaction fees, right, to mint and distribute their art. So it's, you know, really low cost of entry. You know, anybody can go to, you know, wax.atomichub.io and create their NFTs and start putting them on the marketplace, gifting them. Wax. William Quigley. He's the founder of Wax. He's the OG in the space. He was the primary angel investor in Ethereum. He was the founder and owner of Opskins, which is the world's largest digital skins trading platform in the world. So he actually started Mastercoin before Ethereum. It's kind of what Ethereum first was inspired off of. So anyways, he said it perfectly. He said, you can either, sell a $1 billion NFT, or you can get 1 billion NFTs into 1 billion hands, right? So it's like that's the Wax model. It's for mass adoption. It's for everybody. Yes, you can do the one of one, pieces for $1 billion if you want, but you can also do the $1 NFTs that can go to the entire fan base of Bruno Mars, right? Cost effectively. If you try to send 1 billion NFTs on Ethereum, well, the company that does that is going to go broke. So it's just it's two different worlds, and I see that Wax is really kind of defining the way forward for mass adoption.
Hey, Corey.
Yep.
Corey, 6,500 words. 6,500.
What?
One thing that's really interesting there, and that's going from mBlu, what he said, to besides being containers of creativity or artistic visions, NFTs also are community building tools, right? Compared to an art piece that I sell to in the gallery and then it goes as a physical piece with the collectors, an NFT allows me to always be connected to my collectors, and the collectors are also interconnected. And I think this potential is really unique to the NFT space, and the opportunity to give these out free, or to give them as a gift or as a reward for participating as a metaverse event, badges, all these kind of things. I think this is real innovation that brings this whole scene a little bit further than previously the art scene was organizing itself, right? And it needs to.
Sorry, go ahead. I mean, it's interesting to me because Wax has been labeled for quite some time now as just being this kind of trading card platform, right? But we had Darren come on the stream today and said they're doing a lot of stuff on Wax. Martin, it's not Wax, but you guys are doing stuff on Wax and EOS as .gems. I'm kind of curious, Karen, about the Woka people. Are they primarily on Wax, or are they across different blockchains? I'm not so sure about that.
Oh, Woka is basically just anybody who wants to join Woka can, and we're all in various blockchains. I personally, I started in Ethereum, of course, and then started to get concerned about the environmental impact and started to experiment with Tezos. Environmental issues is another part of my life that I won't go into now. But
no, I love it. I'm a permaculture designer, so you can rant on that all day.
I did a panel about that a couple of weeks ago that if you go on my Twitter feed, you can find. And we've had various conversations about this in Woka.
Why are you not on our channel every week? Corey?
Yeah, hey, and by the way, it's Karen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is your Twitter handle?
My Twitter handle is Ocular Delusion, like it's says on my little name tag here. Awesome. So I'm an Ocular Delusion across all of the platforms. But why am I not on your channel? It's because I can't. I want to say something about.
It was a rhetorical question. It's okay. You will be. Don't worry. We're going to pester you to the ends of time, and Darren and Martin as well. I mean. Yeah,
onboarding the masses. I think one of the things that might be a little bit of a misconception is that it's really easy to come into this space, mint your NFT, put it out in the market, and make loads of money. And that's really not what it's about. It's work, and the work is not the technology. The work is the engagement, and it requires you to be on every single channel at all times, 24 hours a day. That means Telegram and Discord and Twitter and Instagram and now Clubhouse. Oh my God. I mean, just so many things. And every question, every chain you're on, every platform you're on, every community you're in, every collaboration you're in, you have to be on multiple channels for every single one of those, and it is a lot of work. So you have to have time and dedication and passion for this. Otherwise, it's not something that you can come in and actually, I've onboarded artists, traditional artists and photographers onto the blockchain, got them onto into known origin and stuff like that. Get them into galleries, and the thing is that you can do that, and then you're there. But if you're not on Twitter every day engaging with everybody, it's not actually going to. It doesn't take off by itself. So I think that's the one thing I would say to new artists coming in is that you do have to be willing to engage, and that's probably 95% of the job. Wouldn't you say?
Well, I totally agree, because I get a lot of artists coming to me, wanting me to help them out, which I'm happy to do, but I have to kind of give them the reality of it. It's NFT success really is determined on the community that you're engaged with. If you have no community and you have really cool art, well, you might be able to hit it out of the park, right? Like somebody like Bitcoin Madame sees it and starts tweeting about it, right? And then her followers, and they may get lucky in that way. But really, it's like you've got something of value that you've put your heart and passion into. You're not just throwing stuff out there to get rich, right? That this is who you are. You're an artist, and you've got something that you want to show to the world, and you've got a community that you're engaged with daily, right? And then you say, hey, friends and family, look what I've got, because if you don't have that community, then you've got really nothing. It's your just hope and prayer that somebody, like Bitcoin Madame or the like, finds it and retweets it, and then a bunch of people, gather around that idea. But yeah, you're totally spot on. It's really about the engagement. It's the community. It's about the passion that you're bringing to the space. So it's not just about, I can do a cool picture. Let me throw it up on the blockchain and see what happens, right?
I mean, you can.
Right. And it's fun.
There are other reasons to be here too, besides throwing out a picture and making money. There's also creating an archive of your own art on the blockchain because you want to see it there. You want to have that digital signature. You want it to be in the space. So sometimes I'll make an edition and I'll keep it in my wallet because actually what I want is to build my own collection of my own NFT art, myself, and watch it gain value.
Exactly.
It's not just about, I'm not an art making vending machine. I never have been. And why should I start now? Right?
I want to see your collection.
Corey and I had a conversation on the stream, like before the original stream started, and it was quite funny because like Corey was super annoyed at himself because he set the limit on the NFTs that he just produced at 3, and he wanted to buy more.
Of the things I made myself. Like that, I'm constantly poning myself in this industry. I'm actually opening one of those packs right now. Again, of NFTs that I made, and I'm still excited about it because I'm a dork.
I was recently introduced, the last couple of days, I was recently introduced to this really cool collective project called WOCA, Women of Crypto-Art. And once I got to know them, I quite liked what they stood for. And just sitting here with all of you on the stream, 2 things. Number one, I think it's not easy. Again, please come on and explain to people how it's not easy. And I think it's especially not easy for artists because artists, I'm not trying to throw shade in anyone's direction here, but artists in general, how they express themselves is on paper with their art. They're not necessarily always the people who want to go out there and be on Twitter and be on YouTube and be on these channels, right? And it's really difficult, I think, for some people because like their whole livelihood of expression comes from that. And so I think what we need to do for this stream, it might be the whiskey talking, but I'm totally down because usually when the whiskey talks, those are when my best ideas come. We need to start a foundation for blockchain artists, like what you guys have done with WOCA. And like these are some of the key players right here on this stream, right? Like you got Martin, one of the top block producers in the US space over there at .gems, with what they're doing with like their tetrahedron art and the way that they ran this competition, whereby you got how many sides are in a tetrahedron? I don't even know, 9 maybe. But like you got to design every kind of side, and then they send out the blueprint and they piece it together, right? Like you've got a real world artist like Darren who's looking at like monetizing graffiti, monetizing freaking graffiti. Like it like this is nuts, right? You got mBlu, who's like in the music side of things and like, you know, just doodling with his kids and coming up with really cool stuff. And Ocular Delusion, who that's really delusional to say at times, but Ocular Delusion, who you know is out there with the Woka people. Like, I think maybe that's what it needs, right? And mBlu kind of alluded to this earlier. It's the connection and the people, and I think that's one thing that kind of drew me into this EOS space and also the wax space, and then kind of under this umbrella of the uplift space is, you know, you have. mBlu said this earlier in a cast that we did, but you have this like collaboration, right? And I think no more like more so than anywhere else, this idea of collaboration in art is actually progressive, right? Because you can feed off of what the ambitions and the aspirations of other people are, but that gives you more inspiration to create and combine and throw these things out there. So this is something I want to do, and I think, you know, mBlu is probably down because he loves collaborating with artists and other people. And it kind of seems like the rest of you, you know, Martin, you guys are collaborating with other people. Let's set up an avenue so that, like, as Ocular Delusion said, these artists, these people that are like working with our various projects, don't have to go onto Twitter themselves and retweet all their own shit. let's build the retweet, like, you know, NFT graffiti artistic army, essentially. I'm trying to figure it. Yeah,
Converse really helps too, because geographically now, and if you one of the great things
Woka
about
is one of the most collaborative organizations I've seen.
Yeah, definitely. And the metaverse for Woka and all the other collaborative projects allows for people to come together across geography and experience each other's art, support, and artists supporting each other financially and also creatively, of course, logistically. The metaverse spaces that we were talking about earlier makes that possible in a way that wasn't possible before. And I think that's another thing that was a huge revelation for a lot of artists coming out of the pandemic, right? Not just artist interaction, but also audience interaction. So suddenly people who were not able to, I live in Norfolk and out in the coastal area of England, you know, people from here who don't have the money to go into London to go see a gallery or cutting edge art all the time, suddenly can beam into a space in the metaverse and experience all this cutting edge art and participate in it. And even if they get inspired, they can start making it and find guidance there. You know, it really has opened up so much for so many people. And that's just an amazing thing. I don't want it to go back to how it was, you know, where art is only for people who are in the know and have the resources to take a train or a plane somewhere to go see the new opening. I think that the museum should come onto the metaverse and make their art available to everybody in the world. You know?
Yeah, I think it will do as well. I think we're going to see record shops and MP3s. That scenario.
Oh yeah. Digital vinyl, baby.
Hey Darren, I want to ask you your opinion of the Banksy that was burned, transferring all that value to the actual NFT. I'm sure you heard of that, right?
Yeah, I can't get my head around it. There was no point.
Well, no, but here's the interesting thing, because I was where you're at too initially. I was like, it's like, what? You know, okay. I was like, then I was just kind of sat with it for a little bit, right? But then I was thinking, that could have been completely brilliant, right? Hear me out for a second. So you've got this physical piece, right, that will not last forever. It'll degrade eventually. It could get stolen. It could burn. It could get water damage. It needs to be insured. It's not very liquid. Yes, it is liquid, but it's not instant, right?
Yes.
They're verified, you know, 5 years from now, somebody wants to verify that that's authentic. It's going to cost money. It's going to cost time. You got to transfer it. You got to store it. You've got the same piece on your wall for years, right? And maybe you're tired of it and you want to see something else, but it's, you know, very expensive. So you don't want, you know, anyways, there's a lot of things, right, with the physical that if you transfer it, then I was thinking, oh, that was brilliant. They destroyed it. They documented it, right? they destroyed it, transferring all of that value to the NFT, which will last forever, or for as long as that there's electricity on planet Earth, which I think is a pretty good idea that it will continue. So it's forever. It's instantly verified. It's liquid 24/7, 7 days a week. You know, just you can have it on your pristine digital frame on your wall, and you can flip through your gallery. You know, maybe you're tired of it this month and you just want to see something else, or you got a gala or something. You can lease it out. You can fractionalize it. I mean, there's so many things that you can now do that you couldn't do otherwise. So now you've transferred that value permanently to this digital thing that you can do so much with. You know, it's so I'm still kind of torn because we love the touchy feely thing, right? You know, but then as I sat and I go, that could have been like a very historic, brilliant move.
Yeah, if Banksy had done it, then great. But now someone's burnt a Banksy and given you not a Banksy.
But you know,
but it's a great model. If Banksy done it, then yeah, perfect.
Right, but see, the thing is that I think it's the market that will determine whether it's a Banksy or not. So if he goes to sell that and somebody pays the value, right, then that's kind of confirmation the market is saying that's a Banksy, right? So
that's saying he's stupid.
Well, actually, that's actually another question that I kind of wanted to ask, because this comes up a lot in the art space, right? Like, so as artists, because there's at least 4 artists on here, like legitimate artists, like real world artists. Where do the copyright laws lie, right? Like, so if you create an NFT, you know, and you tokenize your own art, and you put that on the blockchain, and then, I mean, I guess if somebody else buys it and they sell it and you get like a secondary market share out of that, that's okay. But like, what is your take of like how blockchain can affect the rights of the artists, right? Because we live in this internet age whereby anyone could copy a photo or anyone could copy a picture and they could put it up for sale. They could put it in a calendar. They could do anything. Like what's your take as real world artists on how blockchain kind of secures or solidifies the artist's rights in the space? If anyone wants to comment on that.
Well, there's so much to unpack, but I start with your question right now. So basically, when you mint an NFT, the copyright always stays with the artist. It's your intellectual property, right? The only thing that moves is the property right, right? The buyer can own it. He can resell it, right? He can also, and there we are kind of in like what is ownership discussion, he can also destroy it. The person that did burn Banksy and elevated, I would say elevated the physical Banksy. Well, no, yeah, he called himself Burnt Banksy, right? And I think he did the social experiment where he invested the money into an edition of Banksy. So there's 500 of this piece, right? It's a screen print. So he's not destroying the art piece, he's destroying one edition of those. And he elevates the piece of art, buys it, owns it, destroys it, and then puts the NFT up for auction and as an experiment to see if the market appreciates it. So he could have, like, if the market wouldn't have appreciated that, he would have like burnt $90,000, right? That was the experiment.
As far as we know, many people brought into a scandal, brought into a con.
Sure, but what did it create was a discussion. A lot of people from the traditional art,
which what it was.
Yeah, but it was good. I think this discussion is healthy. It's healthy for any kind of new art community or a movement that we want to have. We need people who say that's shit. We need people that's brilliant, and then those people come together and they decide what's going on, right? There is healthy discussion happening, and in the end, like the market appreciated it. We will see where this goes further down the line. He said, like, I'm not supporting anyone burning art. It was like a one-time thing, and it was only done to kind of have this discussion whether or not we elevate things onto the blockchain as like the securest database there is, or do we destroy the physical piece and it's not valued anymore?
Yeah,
because,
I mean,
in the end, it's the intention. It's the intention that's the artwork. It's not necessarily the physical piece.
That in the wrong context is very Fahrenheit 451, right? Like, that's really like, yeah, burn the art. It's really bad.
Well, we're talking about destruction, right? Is it destruction if you put it in on the medium?
I
That's
don't
the idea.
agree. I mean, like, I don't think it is. No, like, but I think, you know, Darren has a point, right? Like if you purchase a piece of somebody else's art and then you and then you destroy it and then you put it on the blockchain and you sell it for 4 or 5 or 6 times the amount that it was worth, right? Like, I can see why people would call scandal, right? I'm not saying that it's true. I just see like both sides of the argument, right? And I think, you know, what you said, Martin, is really true, right? It does create that discussion, and pretty much everything crypto right now is discussion. And I mean, that's maybe where it aligns with art, because everything in art has always been a freaking discussion, right?
I mean, part of the function of art is to question what art is and what value is, right? It's just like that banana piece about 1.5 years ago.
Even the pixel that guy released. I can't pack or whatever. Like, oh look, I'm a pixel artist. Releases one. I don't know, like sold for some stupid amount of money, and like that's the game we're in, right? And like this is why like the NFT space being this intersection between, you know, cryptocurrencies that's like magic internet money. Like, why do we value any of that? Kind of leads into that discussion of why do we value anything?
Well, exactly. Why do we value
of hyper intelligent monkeys that we're like passing this value back and forth, and art is like the magical unicorn version of that, right? Like they're, you know, and now that they're combined. I don't know. I get a little bit excited about this. I'm talking to the CEO of Weekend Games who created Our Planet right now. I didn't make the list for like, because they were like did this whitelist evil genius bullshit where you can't get into this thing unless you're like a really good part of the community. And then only 500 people are allowed into a pool or whatever. And like, we have a giant deal with these guys. I still didn't get on the list because it was random. And I'm like, fuck. And it's just like, why do it's nothing. It's just a bunch of ones and zeros. But I want to spend my ones and zeros on it.
It's the wonderful human capacity to make meaning out of anything and nothing, right?
Amen.
It's all we're doing. Oh, yeah. It's all totally made up.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good thing.
So then we've all decided that this thing is of value, and we're all here in this discussion because we all happen to have a similar value system of saying that uplifting humanity with whatever we have to hand, you know, this lemon or whatever, is important. And so we're having this discussion. Someone else is having another discussion about stamp collections and how they're going to be the savior of the world. It's all, you know, but the thing is that the fact that the art and the technology and the conversation it provokes gives us this focal point with which to focus momentum, energy, and our values means that we can take all this and use it as traction to build the world that we want. And it could be anything. It could be tulips, you know, but it happens to be NFTs. Because that's the cell we happen to occupy right now.
Yeah. Well, and those stamps that you mentioned will be NFTs.
Sorry, but if you're gonna say something as profound as that, can you just like message it to me first? Because that's where we should freaking end the show.
He's got to be ready for the chop, so we can just be like, okay, end of show now.
Wait, that was really well played. I mean, it's sorry, but go ahead, Blue, with the stamps.
Oh no, it's just, you know, it's just, you know, like William Quigley said, you know, if you can't eat it, it'll become an NFT, you know, from concert tickets to, you know, legal documents to stocks to bonds to, you know, stamps, you know, I assume collectible stamps, you know, on and on. So we're at the very, very beginning of, you know, what this will become. And there's a lot of what we don't know at this point, lots of experimentation. You know, like to Corey's remark about the pixel selling for, I don't know how much that sold for, but I think it was quite a bit.
Like $100,000 or something. I just remember it was like.
Is it the gray pixel, right?
It's like a big. Yeah,
it's like a red pixel. Red pixel.
Okay. Red pixel. Well, there's another one that I saw a couple days ago, but it's just a big gray pixel, and I was like looking at it. I was waiting for something to move. I was like, what am I missing here? So we're at this huge experimentation stage in the NFT ecosystem. And, you know, we're talking to a lot of, you know, different corporations, and they're all trying to figure out how, you know, they're all scrambling, right? They're all like, we're late to the game, right? So they're all like going, what do we do? They're, you know, hey, call Johnny from tech, right? Like, Johnny, what's this NFT thing? Like, get us in there, right? So, and Johnny's scrambling, like, I heard of it, but what the hell? So he's scrambling. He's calling everybody, right? Everybody out there and making all these meetings and finding out what is the best platform, the best way, the best product, the best blah, blah, blah. So they're all like kind of going like this. You know, we've had like, I don't know, like 8 different meetings with the same organization with different parts of their, right, from product to marketing to operations to creative council. So it's like, you know, they're all like scrambling to figure out the secret sauce. But what they're going to do is they're going to experiment with so many different, they're not going to call it right here. Like, this is it. This is the way. They're going to try this. 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 And then they're going to see, okay, which is working, right? Where's the money, right? Because they're after, you know, they're trying to, you know, increase revenue. So there's a lot of experimentation happening right now. I'm sorry.
Sorry, is that like, as artists and people who are worried about, you know, being uplifting in the space, and people like that coming to us and asking what they should do, what do you think our responsibility is here in guiding them? And how should we respond? How should we help? Should we help?
You know, William. You know, I keep talking about William. You know, William Quigley. You know, I've had the honor of speaking with him. He's been helping us. You know, advising us indirectly, right, by having some conversations with us. But he's one of the smartest men I've ever met. I mean, that guy he's a giant of a mind. And he said, you know, this is a phase where it's all about experimentation. Tell people, just jump in. It doesn't matter where, what, who, what platform. Find something that speaks to you. Jump in, get your hands dirty, try it out, figure it out. Keep investigating, learning, growing, asking questions, and you'll find your path, right? So this is all about just doing it. He says, just do it. Just jump in, you know, make mistakes, you know, make mistakes. You know, that's what it's about. He says, you know, we've made so many mistakes, but we just got in there and we just started moving fast and breaking things. And then pretty soon we fixed enough stuff to where, hey, now it works, right? So that's I kind of like that advice. Is just do it. Just do something, find something that resonates, and just jump in.
Corey's well, I sold my house. I did. I sold my house in October and invested all in crypto.
I mean, I mean,
congratulations.
Yeah, right. It's like that was probably a good call.
There's a joke there that I don't want to make. Corey's probably going to slaughter me, like, you know, for some of my jokes, but like, you know, Andy Warhol thing worked out okay. And I mean, like that's the thing, right? Like I was talking to a friend of mine the other day who was watching a stream that we talked about art a little bit on our stream, and he's like, you know, Jimmy, like you kept trying to pull it back. You kept trying to talk about, like, you know, NFTs and fractionalization of like real estate and these types of things, and like I'm so over crypto art. And sitting here on a stream with you people, it kind of resonates with what I said to him, because people don't know what crypto art is. It's not out there in the world yet, right? And this is a really small community, right? Like what the .gems guys are doing, what Darren's doing with the graffiti. I think that we really just need to entitle a show called "Selling Your House and Going All In on Crypto Art" with you, Darren. Next week, if you're free, we might have a space on our channel, right? Like what you guys are doing with like the collaborations of the Woka, you know, what mBlu's doing with the music videos and stuff like that. Like people don't even know this because Wax is so off the radar, right? And that's where a lot of us are based in EOSIO, right? But even in the Ethereum space, right? Like the idea that I'm so over crypto art. I mean, I think it's being like diminished by the fact that like people don't really understand what crypto art is. Crypto art is not taking a photo and putting it up in the blockchain, right? Like it could be. I mean, but there's more involved, and I think that this industry is probably in a way almost more primed to take the world by storm than DeFi, which is like a crazy statement that like only Jimmy D would say, but like in 100 years I might be right.
Well, you know, DeFi and you know, the NFT space have merged, and it's going to get more and more
they're not different.
meaningful, you know, as time goes by. But you know, they're like this, and you know, I think I understand that statement. Like, I'm so over crypto art because you know, we're really in this hype cycle to where everybody is just kind of, not everybody, but a lot of people are just jumping in. They're seeing this. It's the gold rush, right? And so you're seeing a lot of I can understand, like, talking to a lot of these artists that I'm, you know.
Well, actually, sorry,
I'm
but
an
like,
artist. Okay,
just to throw a caveat out there, like, I don't honestly believe it. I think where the statement comes from is the statement comes from people who are in crypto that are looking at art that are saying, I'm so over crypto art. And what I'm trying to say is, like, crypto art hasn't even arrived yet, right? Like the people who are doing things with art that are going to onboard the masses into loving the art, like that's not even a thing yet, right?
Yeah, I got to add to that though, because you know, going back to Ty Carter, who's the head of the Art Council, I mean, you know, he works in the animation world, right? He's, you know, art director for Netflix, but, you know, he's worked at Blue Sky and he's worked at all the major studios. He knows all, you know, he's friends with the guy that, you know, came up with The Lion King, right? That like when he's bringing in and talking to fine artists, like top of their, you know, the Michael Jordans of art, right? And they're looking at the space, and from their purview, most of the art that's out there in the crypto world is noise to them. They're like going, that sold for how much, right? They're like, oh my God, right? There's some really good crypto art. I'm not saying there isn't, right? But, you know, and I can't, you know, they won't even let mBlu on the Legend platform. I'm just saying, you know, this is curated top fine artists, the Michael Jordans. I'm playing, you know, like, you know, college hockey, right? You know, or maybe not even college hockey, right? Maybe high school hockey, right? So, you know, even though I'm the founder of Legend Art, you know, you're not going to see mBlu's art on the Legend platform because I'm not a Michael Jordan, right? I'm a passionate guy with, you know, with a lot of ideas, right? And a good, you know, what I feel is a good intention. But when this caliber is looking at the crypto art space, they're going, whoa, what is going on here, right? They're seeing these huge valuations for a dot, right? Or a garbage can with crap coming out of it, or, you know, sometimes just really gimmicky stuff. So they're looking at this space going, I'm so over this crypto art thing. Like, let's get some like really celebrated artists on there and some real, like, let's get some real valuations here, right? So we're in this price discovery phase, this new frontier, this new technology where everything's just being thrown out there, and you get this, you know, $100,000 trash can, and you've got this celebrated artist that, you know, his canvases go for $250,000 on the low end. And he's looking out going, whoa, what the hell is going on here? So I can understand.
mBlu, I love you, but here's where I think you're wrong. And this goes back to the whole point of Andy Warhol. Like, who would have thought that, like, I don't even know how many there were, but who would have thought that like 12, or I think there was like 24, like Campbell soup cans would have sold for millions of dollars. And that's what I think, like, to me speaks, right? Like, these people who are creating these crazy things, not the people who are creating like Matt Groening pieces of artwork because they're already famous, because they're Rick and Morty people. And I apologize to the women in the room. They're Rick and Morty people, and they put 6 fucking tits on every single character and they sell it for like thousands of dollars. That's not freaking art. That's just a picture of someone capitalizing upon their, you know, their famousness, right? It's the real people that are working in the real world to bring their actual art onto the blockchain that gets discovered, as our good friend Yoshi said yesterday, that people discover and they like, and that's real art. And like, I love everything that like we're doing, like as an organization with the Uplift, and you know how much I love you, right? But here's the problem with bringing art to the world, because the maybe finance, you know, the big businesses, the big money, they're always right. But in the art world, right? Like, I think maybe Ocular Delusion said it, right? It's all about the people's sentiment, right? And you can have amazing art that never gets discovered, and you can have art that nobody wants, but the minute it's discovered, you know, it goes off like madness and like nuts. So as a self-proclaimed leader of the Foundation for Blockchain Art, foundation that was created here on this stream tonight, let's figure out a way to let's figure out a way to bring all of these amazing artists like to the world, to that place where it's not about the name that you have and the crappy art that you produce to capitalize. And I'm not saying that the name that you have equals crappy art, obviously. Now I'm kind of cadavering myself, as Corey would say.
Bitcoin Madame seems to have dropped off the call, but I think it would be nice if she were to be able to speak to this as a collector. But I also collect a little bit, and you know, when I make a sale, I try to collect some art and support my fellow artists. But also, just because I've always been a collector of art, and in a sort of a low key way. I collect art because I like it. And one of the things that this space has opened up is that it means that I get exposed to such a huge variety of art that I can just buy, you know, and that's an incredible joy, right? It scratches the shopping itch for sure. It scratches the art consumption itch, and on top of that, I also get to support fellow artists, which is amazing. So I think bringing in the top tier artists that are already known in the traditional world, I mean, I think it's fine to do that. And it's something that they're curious about, that we should bring them on here, but this isn't really about them or for them necessarily. It's about for the rest of us, you know, who have always wanted to make art and share it with other people in whatever capacity. And I am interested in top tier artists, but I'm also interested in the artists, all the artists of humanity. I want to hear what people have to say and what they're creating and why. You know, it's just endlessly entertaining and fascinating, and much better than watching endless reruns of Friends, you know. And if I can have some of that in my wallet, and if I can have some of that, I've collected some people and like watch their brand, for lack of a better word, grow. And you know, I know that the stuff that I've got in my wallet is gaining value, and that like adds to the pleasure, because I have this connection with an artist who is like developing and getting out there, and it's a joy. It's just a joy to see, and we all wish that for ourselves. But there's more to art than making sure that the top 15 people get represented in any given space. You know what I mean?
And I think that's what maybe awesome. What mBlu was hinting at as well, is like that we're in that discovery phase, right? We're in that phase where we can balance it out, where it can happen. And I think it's like a really like exciting time, right? Like for everyone. And like, yeah, I did like, I'm not trying to throw shade in any direction or any artist or anything. I mean, this is a roundtable for us to discuss these ideas, because I think this is like more important that people know. I kind of maybe sidetracked the conversation, but I think that crypto art is one of the most misunderstood things in the whole space, and the potential that it has is my personal opinion.
So what is the definition of crypto art? Anybody know?
Well, and that's a good one. But I also want to go back to your question earlier, is like you asked like what is the impact of crypto art on like young entrepreneur artists? You said that before too, mBlu, and I don't think we ever finished that. I might have cut us off. I apologize for that. But yeah, what's the definition of crypto art, and what's the how do we make this success story of the 21st century?
So I think well, art itself is always working within its context, right? And it's creating a context to the contemporary. Crypto art in that case, I would say why it's crypto art. It's because it was relating to blockchain and the opportunities that open up with blockchain, and putting NFTs and art and content on the blockchain, and giving it scarcity and giving it value, making it tradable, right? And that's something that's created a container for digital art. Now, digital art is old, right? We have digital art since 30, 40 years already, and there's a lot of experimentation. Since we have computers, people use computers to produce art. Right, but we always had the problem, how can we trade this? How can we introduce scarcity? How can we limit it, right? How do we prevent it from being copied all the time? And with NFTs, this was made possible. And I would say crypto art are the really early pioneers who experimented with the medium of NFTs, right? So a lot of people who wouldn't understand the technology that's behind the CryptoPunks, for example, would say, oh, that's not art. That's super boring. I can do that, right? But the CryptoPunks really made it possible that we don't even need IPFS anymore to store the content, because all the information in each pixel is stored as a data point on the blockchain. So therefore, they're really valuable. Anybody else that does pixel art right now mints it as an IPFS hash is not as valuable. That's knowledge and that's context that we need to understand in order to value this. Moving forward, I think the term crypto art is going to be like something like punk or something like that was a phase in the context. But NFTs will stay, and they will allow digital artists, professionals, to have a direct access to the market. There are shit tons of digital artists that know their craft, that work with Cinema 4D or all these like Adobe Suite, all these things for years, and they created a real profession, but they could never monetize on this. They only could work for big advertising fans, animation studios, and it was always like basically being in the machine. They had never the chance to really just like express one artistic message and go out there and innovate on what art really is. And I think this is where NFT is going to develop. They create a container, and they create like a medium for digital artists to bring out their message without thinking about a client, without thinking about like having a job or not having a job. And that's massive opportunity. And I think crypto art is kind of the starting point there. It's like inventing the electric guitar and being Jimi Hendrix, but everything after is rock music, right?
Beautiful. Well said, Martin.
Another mic drop moment.
Yeah, and also I want to applaud Karen too. I loved how you stated that, right? It's you love the landscape, for all of its multifarious aspects, right? From the garbage cans to the really fantastical, imagery, and everything in between, because it gives you kind of like a the freedom to explore and just see what's coming out of the hearts and minds of people. And some you can really gravitate towards, some maybe not so much, but you appreciate it all. And I really love that perspective you shared.
But it also helps people find each other, because the people who have been sort of locked in their own closet and with their own aesthetic have been able to find other people with their aesthetic. And so they're finding each other and collaborating, and that must be thrilling for everyone, right?
Yeah.
Oh, God damn it.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Bitcoin Madame.
Yes, hello.
Hey, so what's really lighting you up in the space?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's lots of exciting projects going on. Ocular Delusion mentioned earlier the Tarot project, which was like 22 women crypto artists collaborating together. So that's just dropping on async art. Obviously, we mentioned earlier the Graffiti Queens, which is, that was just an incredible project. There was over 200 artists, over 283 artworks across 8 locations in Decentraland. The opening party was so good. We had another party the next weekend. There's just so many exciting projects, and the metaverse as well. I get really excited about stuff like that. So, as a collector, I like to maintain my anonymity. And what I like about the metaverse is it asks not who you are, but what you can do for it. So you can be whoever you want to be in the metaverse, and nobody says, oh, you're a person of color, you're disabled, you're a woman, you're whatever. You can be anything, and I think that's really empowering. I have a lot of respect for Metapurse, who bought the big Beeple piece. They're a couple of Indian guys from a very sort of humble background, and they've bought like the most expensive piece of crypto art. So fair play to them. Nobody knew who they were at the time, because we only knew them through the metaverse, and now they've felt confident to reveal that they're not, privileged white males. So I think that's really promising for everyone.
Beautiful. Yeah. So when you're saying the metaverse, so Woka has a world or a land in Decentraland or some other metaverse. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, some of the artists have got their own galleries in CryptoVoxels or Decentraland. We've also just obtained a Waka museum in CryptoVoxels, which was, kindly donated to us. So thank you to Giselle for that. And we're going to actually display, the first exhibition is going to be the Tarot collection, which is going to be hung in the Waka CryptoVoxels location. We have various locations in Decentraland that are on loan to us from artists. So there's an artist, Pearl Hyacinth, who's very kindly given Waka and Dada the use of her gallery for a year. So there's lots of collaborations going on in there. And I mean, I could tweet about the locations, the coordinates for all these exciting galleries afterwards. But yeah, so I love wandering around in the metaverse and bumping into people. It's a weird one because you'll see someone and you'll wave to them and say hi, and then they just tend to run away because people don't know how to interact. But I love that. It's great.
Wow. Hey, Corey, are you feeling Woka World?
Yeah, I mean, land grant in the Uplift the second that you guys say you want it. Like, that's happening for sure. I think that'd be amazing.
Yeah, if there's any way that we can help uplift Woka, please reach out because, I would love to support in any fashion that I can. Whether that's building a Woka world, we're building galleries in world now where you can put, your images and, QR codes direct to the gallery so people can purchase. But I think that would be such a great thing is to have a Woka world. But that's
really a whole world that's a whole other ball of monkeys as far as like doing a whole map, which we could definitely discuss. I mean, that's definitely not impossible, but because we actually have some groups that are starting to build those out now, which is going to be utterly epic. But the first thing that came to mind, yeah, Jimmy, you shush your pants. The first thing that came to mind, mBlu, was actually maybe a little land grant in Center City, which is just going to be between that giant legend build and the Blue Room, and that could then if we gained enough momentum and decided it was something that we wanted to do, we could actually have a teleport that runs right through that building that everybody would start at down into a whole world, which could be massive.
I like that idea, but I'm not going to shut my pants because I kind of feel like
I know.
I kind of we do this every day. I know you're not going to be quiet, Jimmy. I kind of feel like there needs we've done a good job to put like art in the Uplift, but I kind of feel like there needs to be an art metaverse somewhere.
A Graffiti King's Kingdom.
I mean,
where
I feel like you're threatening me with a good time, Darren. I like it.
If all of you guys are going to Decentraland and all these other places, that's cool. But wouldn't it be kind of cool to have like a map that was just dedicated to artists? Is all I'm saying. And as you know, we promise little and deliver a lot. So don't hold us to this. But this is just my speculation.
Well, and also, something that I want to really highlight and why using this Minecraft as the visual tool layer to the experience, right, is not only are the players earning wax and other crypto for just playing and discovering NFTs, but this world gives everybody the tools to become artists, right? We've the things that Corey was showing earlier was all done by people that have learned Minecraft within the last few months, right? So you've got a whole toolbox of tools to let your imagination just run free. We've got accountants in there that would never have called themselves an artist, creating like mind-blowing things that then will be turned into 3D NFTs and directly impacting their financial wealth, right? Their future. And so we're seeing this every day. We're seeing average people, what is average, right? But people that would never consider themselves artistic, right? There's a lot of these people in the world that would never put artist next to their bio, right? Just but they come into this world, and for some reason it gives them this like free pass, this license to just let it out. And the things that are coming out of these people is like mind-blowing. And for somebody that's never considered themselves artistic, right, and proud of something that they've made, right, they're stepping back and they're looking at something that they've created and they're going, whoa, like I did that. Like, and they're proud of it. And the feelings that you get as a human from creating something that you're proud of, you're fond of, right? That's a feeling that I think that awakens something vital in the human spirit right now. In this world right now, this world is needing this creative spark, right? And that's what's really special about the Uplift, in my opinion, is that it gives everybody this free pass to be an artist, even though they're not even thinking themselves as an artist, right? They just become an artist, and they step back and go, oh, wow, that's awesome, right? I did that, right? And then they can create an NFT out of it if they choose. And, they've got their community, and we're seeing this happen right now in real time, where people are literally changing their lives because of what's going on inside this metaverse.
Right, this sounds amazing, this place. I've not checked it out yet. That sounds dope.
Well, I think we're coming up on 2 hours now, and I think that's a really good point that Blue brought up for us to end the stream. So I think we're gonna have to do this again sometime because there's way too much to cover in 1 hour, which is why we went for 2, and we've still got 6 hours left. It kind of seems like that's the way of things. But like, before we go, there was one question on the bottom of the screen here that I think we should answer. So I think this was directed towards the towards the Woka group, but maybe everyone else can answer it as well, just to give people a base on where they can see this art. So do y'all any way outside of ETH and fiat for us to support Woka? Well, on the Uplift World and the Uplift Nation side, we're all on Wax. So just go to Uplift.Art Uplift.Art and the Uplift World.
Woka are setting up a DAO, and it's not going to be based on Ethereum blockchain. It's going to be on XDAI as a colony DAO. So we're sort of very aware of the problems with ETH gas, and nobody's going to vote on proposals if they've got to pay $50. So XDAI is much cheaper, and we've got artists involved in a lot of environmental groups. I mean, Ocular Delusion, you probably know more about that than me.
Yeah, and so I think Martin, you guys run through the EOS Nation site, but you're mostly primarily on EOS.io and Wax, right? EOS and Wax.
Well, as an artist and also as an NFT lover and NFT collector, I'm on all chains, kind of like. I'm getting into Tezos right now because I really like what's happening there. There's some interesting new platforms opening. I did mint my personal work on Ethereum, Wax, and EOS, depending on what I want to do with it, right? And also to experience kind of the platforms, so I can advise other people. Like as .gems, as I mentioned, we work with other people, we help them on board, because that was the question that Karen had, should we help people that come from the traditional world? And I think yes, we should. We need to introduce them to the right people. We need to introduce them to the pioneers, give credit where credit is due, because the worst thing that can happen is that big money players come in and okay, our NFTs is ours, because they truly have the power to do that, right? But we can basically be in the middle and introduce and be diplomats, right? These are two worlds. We need to unite them. And I would really like to do this regularly and talk to you guys and invite people. I think we have a foundation going on right now.
Yeah, we're totally doing the foundation.
I need to jet because I got a dev meeting that I gotta get to. I want to talk to all of you guys individually or in a private tour of the Uplift and brainstorm those ideas, because I think the lowest hanging fruit, each of you, I want to invite you guys to have a little land grant in the Uplift, just so you can kind of experience it, check it out, and see it, because I think it'll be valuable immensely for our whole community to be able to do the cross pollination with all of your communities. But yeah, Darren and for Woka, we're booting up whole worlds for different communities. And so, that might be a possibility, right? Where, the whole artist world is something that is literally singing at me right now as an idea. So I would love to chat with you guys about that and explore it, because it just, it's going to be really cool. Anyway, you guys rock, and let's do it again soon. I gotta go. Bye.
Bye.
Look at the apples, not the cliff, I guess. And yeah, so Darren, maybe we'll answer this question, and then we'll wrap it up. But if any of you guys want to hang out after and talk a little bit, like, we can explore some of these ideas off stream that are more private than public.
I got the same dev meeting to go to as Corey. So thank you for the invite. This was a great conversation. Really enjoyed everybody. I look forward to collaborating in the future. That'd be fun. But let's continue this conversation.
Sure. Thanks for coming, mBlu. And yeah, thank you again.
Thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Blue.
Yeah, so Darren, in answer to that question, where can people find you? Like, is it ETH based? Where is your art? Where are you guys generally located? Because I think you deserve the time to answer that, at least.
Nowhere right now, to be honest. We're all over the shop. So we jumped in. Well, I jumped in. Like last October, and had intentions to release loads of personal artwork and stuff, but I saw the bigger picture, hence why I sold the house. And straight away I start reaching out to all these brands, and ever since, each day has just been networking, building, creating all this content that's going to be coming out. And in the next few weeks, I mean, we've got in fact a live auction tonight in Decentraland. We're creating some NFTs for some crypto bonds. I'm sure they're ETH related, but other than that, we're wax. We're all over wax at the moment. We've got a crypto moon boys. We've got a collection of crypto moon boys. We do physical toys. We've got the Bitcoin kid. That, in fact, where is he? He's around somewhere. There he is.
I feel like we're watching Zoolander, where you're going to start hitting the computer with
So I've created this toy.
Nice. I like it.
Bitcoin kid.
Adorable.
Yeah, they're all hand painted. He's from the Hodder Warriors, and he's fighting the crypto bulls and the crypto bears. And so they come with NFTs. We've just partnered with Our Planet to create a trading card.
Nice.
For them, that comes out in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, our planet is huge. So if you're partnered with Our Planet, like, I'm a fan. Like, that's some good stuff.
Yeah, they're dope. And we've got a Graffiti Kings. We've got a Graffiti Kings trading pack coming out with R2 Collectibles in May. After that, and and ETH, but yeah, mainly wax. I can't. In fact, I was on wax last night, gave away 150 NFTs, just sitting there going transfer, and it didn't cost me a penny.
Nice.
Yeah, I loved it.
Exactly. Try and do that on Ether. Yes. We can't hear you, Martin.
Yeah, guys, I also need to drop off. There's a meeting. I'm already overdue. I will reach out to you, Karen. I got your Twitter handle already. You just got to high up the VPN. Darren, I'm already in touch with you. Jimmy, also the same. And Bitcoin Madame, I guess Karen can let me know how I find you. But I heard about Walker, and I will visit your parcels.
Cool.
Yeah, Martin, please come on anytime. Let us know, and we've already got something for you, I think, in the Uplift setup. But please come on and join us on our show and let us know more about your art stuff. So,
cheers for the opportunity to talk to you all.
And for all of you out there, thank you, Martin. And for all of you out there listening, thanks for tuning in. 2 hours, that's nuts. And it was a really long time. We're going to be back at some point with some or all of the same panel here, probably for some roundtables, but more specifically, hashtag shameless plug with relevance number 2 on the show. We're going to have, I hope, all of you on Corey and my channel, to talk about, what moves you and the projects that you are for more of an exclusive edition. So For today, that's all. I'm gonna have to do the one-hand karate chop today because like I'm one-handed, because I got one hand on the mouse and one hand chopping the mouse. So yeah, thanks, and we'll see y'all next week.